It is late at night, and we are off the grid. And while I cannot vouch for anything else going on in the world, those two things are true. It's late night here, about to turn the corner on this day, on this Tuesday, and we're off the grid. We're actually on car power. So, what does that look like? This is what it looked like this morning. It looked a little gray out this morning. We actually made a decent amount of power. I would say an acceptable amount of power, maybe above average, depending on what average is in this day and age. And so let's check it out. How much power did we actually use? How much power did we make? How much power did we need? All those answers and more, or I should say all those questions and more, we're going to find the answer to. I'm coming off a little bit of a cold, so Super Great Granddad. Hey, what's up, brother? If that's Super Great Granddad or BJ. Happy to hear from you. So let's see. Oh, yeah, where were we at? My power got ahead of us. The dog is doing good. Let's see. Huckleberry, how you doing? Let me pull up. I got a Huckleberry recording today. Huckleberry's spending a lot of time by the fire these days. There's Huck. Oh, hold on. Let me go back to Huckleberry. There he is. Huckleberry, and there you can see our other dog, Posey. Was Posey in there too? Yep, Posey's in there too. Hey, BJ. Happy late night. Happy you're an hour earlier than me, so you still got an hour and change of Tuesday left. Yep, there's the big guy. He's doing good. He had a fun day. He saw a lot of friends today. He had it was cold out, but there was a lot of friends walking around, so that was good. He always has fun with that. Let's see. Let's put us back to power mode. What did we do? What did we do for power mode? So we are at 50%, which is nice. We're at 50% battery. We'll take it. We switched over to the car. I did look at the blue link. I set it up. It's super awesome. Thank you for that. My wife already had it, so she's smarter than I, in every degree measurable. But it was time. I needed to get it too, so I did. That was helpful, and especially since it's been so cold. And it's what, the one thing we can't do on the Blue Link app is control our vehicle to load, which is pretty interesting. But I found out that if we ever use too much power, more power than the vehicle to load on our Hyundai can provide to the house, then we're able to, and what'll happen is the car will just shut down because it doesn't want to overload. We're able to use the key fob remote and unlock the car, and that reactivates the vehicle to load, and it reactivates the power coming through to the house from the car. So that's pretty helpful. So thanks for that. Thanks for that heads up. And yeah, we still got good power today, but we got a bunch of great days ahead. We made okay power today. What did we even make? I kind of forget. We made, I think we made about 20. Oh, what did we made 32 kilowatts today. That's actually solid. 32 kilowatts on a cold December, slightly gray day is pretty solid. And that really did charge us up pretty good. We used a lot of power today. We used some heat today. We baked. We cooked. We were merry. We ate and were merry. There's a run through of the last few days, just so I always like to see, like, yeah, we might have used 30 kilowatts today, but we used 15 last Sunday, and then our 2022 average, and we used 8.9 on last Thursday. So 8.9, that's the middle of the day. I always say break our power usage down into 3 chunks, thirds. Pie, we slice it into thirds for the day. We have the morning third of energy. We have the middle third of energy, which you could see there in the graph. It's kind of helpful to see it illustrated. I'm a visual learner. And then we have the end of the day, the end third. So it's 8, 8, and 8. You tend to say 24 kilowatts in the day. It fluctuates depending on the day and what we're doing and what season it is. But that's a general rule of thumb, and we're going to need that. We're going to apply that lesson in a couple of minutes to what I always find is, interesting, I don't know, advertising or what you will with some of the portable power stations. But this gives us a visualization of how much power we actually need, and we'll get back to that in a second. But that was so 8.9 is like really cutting it thin in terms of our power usage. But when we're not managing it and when we've got plenty of power, like a day like today, we used 32.1. That's a decent chunk for us. But again, it's running the heat. That's doing a lot of cooking, baking, that sort of thing. And we were able to bank some power, but ultimately we broke even because we made essentially as much as we used. We made 26.8 today, which is a good amount. Like I said, we used 30, so we used a little bit more. We rolled into this morning with about 50%, and we're at about 50% now, having switched over to car power. So that just gives us a sense of, what we use for power today and where we sit right now. As you can see, getting back to the house thinks it's off because we're hooked up to the car. The Ioniq 5 is powering the house. So as far as the Tesla system is concerned, we're not pulling in any sun, and that's obvious. It's the middle of the night, but we're not using any power. But that's not entirely true. We're probably at about 1.6 kilowatts right now, pulling from the car. So that being said, this is what the weather looks like. It's warmer today. Get a little flurries. It's 32 up here today in New England, and we've got a bunch of gray days ahead. You could see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all kind of gray. And so this is where we just have to plan accordingly. And we do, and having the car is really the ultimate neutralizer, equalizer for us in having that power. So that's sort of where we stand for the power check today. And this is what it brings me to, is that I read articles like this. This is kind of what I get into it, and it gets a little frustrating. So I read articles like this. I'm flipping through on my Flipboard. This portable battery station can power your home for 2 weeks. But here is its real best feature. Oh my God, I'm not trying to pick this thing apart, because I ultimately think this is probably like an ad or something like that. So I'm not trying to give who wrote this article. I'm not trying to give ZDNet, whoever wrote this article for ZDNet. I can't even, my eyes are so bad I can't even read. Written by Adrian Kingsley Hughes. Look, this is not a knock on you, but these types of articles drive me bonkers, because there is no chance that this Jackery station, we're going to look into first of all, this is 4 kilowatts of power, maybe. It's probably 2 kilowatts of power, or 3 in that bottom unit, and then an additional 1 or 2, depending what it is, to total 4 in that entire Jackery unit. So when you're saying this portable power station can power your home for 2 weeks, there is no chance that 4 kilowatts could power your home for a few hours, realistically. But what this article goes on to talk about, in essence, is that you can connect a whole bunch of these together. I mean, there's just so many interesting components to this. So in order to get 2 weeks, or what they're claiming could be 2 weeks of power from this Jackery power station, this 2,000 plus, which I guess just came out. But I think we have an EcoFlow. I have an EcoFlow Pro, and it's got 4 kilowatts. It's our backup to our backup to our backup. Basically, if our Tesla gateway goes down, and we're not producing solar, and our Hyundai Ioniq is not able to flow through the manual transfer switch, then we still can keep our fridge on, and we can still keep our fireplace fan on with our EcoFlow, which is very similar to this Jackery. It's 4 kilowatts. However, we would not run our house for anywhere near. I mean, we're talking still think about this. When our house is running just bare minimum, we're running 0.4, 0.5 kilowatts. That's the refrigerator. It's the fireplace fan, and the fireplace fan, wood burning. And then we have LED lights. I mean, we don't shut that, so the internet stays on. So we're talking about 0.5. I would feel comfortable at saying we can run our house comfortably at 0.5 kilowatts. So if you're talking about a 4 kilowatt system, that's 8 hours. That's 8 hours. That is the max I'm going to guarantee you off of a system like that. And that is legitimately, that's bare bones. I mean, that's not really running a house just because we can kind of efficiently dial it down. So I don't know. I just get on my little side tangents, because you talk about kicking on any kind of anything with a motor, anything with a fan, any kind of heat, any kind of a high yield appliance, and you're going to get 2 hours from that substation. And so let's see. I got to make this bigger, because I can't. I should probably wear my glasses when this happens, when I have to see this. So pardon me for getting close to the screen here. How cold is it here? It's all a BJ. It is nice. It is a nice and comfortable. Here, let me pull it up. I had just go back to that. I had just pulled this up. 32. There it is right there. I just took that. That was about an hour ago, not even an hour ago. 32. It's a little snowy. There's some flurries outside, very light. And the feels like temperature, what was the feels like? It wasn't even bad. It was in the high 20s. So we went from really being in the feels like it at -3, -5 the last couple of days. So to have a feels like temperature at 25 feels luxurious, which is great because we don't our heat isn't having to work as hard and struggle as much. And so what's nice is we're very comfortable. We're at 69 or 70 degrees. Said if the dogs are comfortable like that in front of the fireplace, Huckleberry and Posey, they had a long day. It was cold out. They did a lot of running around and hanging out, and that's the fireplace. And that and the refrigerator and the internet are basically the bulk of our power when we really want to try to conserve our energy. And so again, going back to what this Jackery power station would be, switching down. So it's like they're claiming. So he said you could power your house for 2 weeks, and that's not even the best part. I just got to skip to the spoiler alert. They said the best part of this thing was the wheels. Now, I get it. This thing has wheels. It's like a little portable suitcase. It's a little portable suitcase that weighs 100 pounds, legitimately 100 pounds. And they're saying you have to pair 5 of them together to get 2 weeks worth of power. So that's 500 pounds that you're having to wheel around to hook up to who knows what. And you really have to have your electrical wiring suitable to make it easy enough to transition over. And that was one of the things we wanted to, make as efficient as possible that we could. And in doing that, it was just a manual transfer switch in our solar shed. That makes it easy for us. So this is 4,000 watts not enough? Is it not enough for you? No, it's not enough. It's not enough to run a house. It is enough in a pinch to get you out of a bind. 4 kilowatts, 4,000 watts, 4 kilowatts. It's enough to, again, at half a kilowatt at bare bones, you can run 8 hours. You could get through overnight. But in the winter in New England, that's not overnight. In the winter in New England, it starts at 4. We don't make power after 4, and we don't start making power till, let's really say 9. So let's say 4 to midnight is 8 hours, and then it's another 9 hours to 9. So we're talking about there's that's like a good 16 hours there. There's going to be a 14 to 16, 17 hour range where you're not making any power. So a 4 kilowatt system drawing a house power of a minimum of a half a kilowatt an hour, while it sounds good, it could get you 8 hours, it's just not going to. And this doesn't take into account any power you're making. This doesn't take into account what you're using. There's no number in here that says it could power your house if your house uses X amount of power. And this is the type of stuff that's just frustrating because I see this stuff all the time. Oh, how was work, BJ? Oh, it was good. Thank you. Work was really good. Busy. And I think that's a good thing. It's good for me to stay busy. I got a lot of challenges at work. So a lot of, what do they say? 1 step, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards kind of thing. Just trying not to trip either forwards or backwards along my journey. That's all. But thank you for asking. And let's see. So yeah, basically this is just not enough power. Even if we max it out, and again, the best feature was the wheels, you're not going to be lugging these things around. That's just not realistic. And if you're talking about powering your whole house with it, you need it situated and wired in such a way that it makes it somewhat reasonable, easy, efficient to power your house with it. It can't be dragging out extension cords in places that you don't quite know where they go, or pulling out a refrigerator where you have to plug it into your wall. It's a matter of having things wired the right way, like I said, a manual transfer switch, something that allows you to route the power through and have an efficient hookup with it. And so these are great. Like if you're going camping, these are great. So we have one of these in a pinch. It's great. But it's not the be all and end all. It's not really intended to, supposed to, or pragmatic solution to power a house for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, that's what they said. And I know they're just reading the specs off of the machine, but I just I don't agree with it. Again, if we're talking about, so if one of these, and that's the cost on it too, is the other thing. You can't get like a clean cost on what the totality of that power is going to be. But if one of these units is 4 kilowatts, and they're saying you can connect several of them together to create 24 kilowatts of power, which is a lot of power. But mind you, and not to brag or anything, we have 40 kilowatts of power in our Tesla Powerwall system. It's not enough in the winter. Full stop. 40 kilowatts of power in New England for a contemporary lifestyle and a family of 5, which is what we have, is not enough power to sustain off-grid in the wintertime. But what you can do is you could supplement that power. That's why we have our car. We're on our car power right now. And our house power has 40 kilowatts. Our car power has 80 kilowatts. So there's 200% extra power right there by being able to hook our car up. So if we're talking about, our EcoFlow Pro or Jackery or whatever you want to call it, whatever proprietary brand, that they offer out there at 4 kilowatts, it's like a little nugget of power in terms of being able to power a house for a day, which we know is going to be around 20, 25, even 30 kilowatts. I read an article that said the average is about 29 kilowatts per day in the United States. And again, it fluctuates, left to right, up to down, coast to coast. But that's a good gauge on it. I think I'd say 30. We operated about 20, 25 in the wintertime. And we had it down the other day to 8. I said it's 3 sections of power. We have the morning, we have midnight to 8, and then 8 to 16, and then 16 to 24. That's how our power breaks down. So it's 8 kilowatts. It's a kilowatt an hour. I mean, it's pretty. If we use math like that, we use 1 kilowatt of power per hour, pretty much in any season, but especially in the winter. So if you are in the best case scenario with this Jackery system, and you're able to, to spend the money on getting 5 of these interconnected. And again, these each weigh 100 pounds. So it's 500 pounds of battery storage, and it's probably $20,000 or $30,000. And the cost might be worth it, depending on what your, cost is for power. And that's a different story. That's a different side of it. It's just not enough power. So legitimately, now that we know 1 hour of running our house is 1 kilowatt, 24 kilowatts, which is the most you can get by it was 24 and change by connecting all of these Jackery solar lithium ion batteries together, portable batteries together. And these aren't even, stationary house battery. I do like that they're portable, but when it's 500 pounds worth of batteries, you're not really moving it around everywhere. So it must be in a place where you use it. And this is simple math. If there's 24 kilowatts, that's 24. It's 24 hours. It's 24 kilowatts in an hour. So this gives you 1 day. They're saying that this is 2 weeks of power, and I'm saying this is 1 day of power. That's a big discrepancy. And I live this. We live this. So I would bet that if you were looking to power your house for 2 weeks, that this solution wouldn't be the best option. And I would further that by saying you would maybe want some redundancy in that solution if you're going to be living off grid for 2 weeks, a month, several months. Having some redundancy, having an additional generator, and in our case, it's a generator on wheels. It's our Ioniq 5, and it has 200% more power than our house actually has as is. We have 40 kilowatts in the Powerwall. I know I keep saying it. We have 80 in the car. So it really is a peace of mind for us right now. When we have our car charged up to 100%, we had it at 84% the other day, and we went vehicle to load, and we kind of powered everything down just a little bit because the weather hasn't been great. And we're running at 0.5 kilowatts. And at 80%, we had 90 hours. I believe we were at 90 or 96 hours worth of backup power just off the car. And that's the way to go. But that's 96 hours. That's not even 2 weeks. That's not even a week, I don't think. My math isn't sharp right now. But that's 90 hours off of 80 kilowatts. But again, the math checks out because that's using about a kilowatt an hour. Maybe if we just kept it really minimal and able to use the half a kilowatt, that 80 that 80 kilowatts in the car would get us 160 hours maybe. So, but it's that amount of power. You really need that robustness and that volume of power, not a whole bunch of jackeries hooked up thinking you're going to get by for 2 weeks. Because if that's the case, then you're setting up your system not just for backup power in the case of an emergency. I mean, you're going to be maybe using this thing more frequently than just in a, some kind of an emergency setup that you want, because you're spending maybe 20 grand or 25 grand on this system, and you're going to get your money's worth out of it. And then you're going to switch over and think you're going to power your house for 2 weeks, and that's just not going to happen. And so I see a lot of these articles where it's just like, buy this portable energy storage system. And these are brand names. These are fairly reputable names. I would trust Jackery. I've gotten a small, like a 400 watt unit from them. And like I said, we have the EcoFlow. We have the 4 kilowatt EcoFlow, and it works great. But you got to know what its limitations are, and you got to sort of know what its floor and ceiling is, and then you'll be better suited to spend your money wisely, to purchase the right type of backup power for whatever backup solution you need. And look, at the end of the day, if sometimes, like where I lived previous to this, still where it snows, we were coastal, we have heavy winds, we would lose power for anywhere from an hour, half an hour, sometimes even like 10 minutes, just like 10-minute flicker to question mark. And it could be 8 hours or 12 hours or 16. And so, having a little bit of flexibility to know that, in a pinch like this Jackery, you could hook this Jackery up, and even at 4 kilowatts, if you combine the two of them and you have 4 kilowatts, you can get 8 hours with your fridge running and your fireplace fan running, and, the lights are on, and you could power your computer and the internet's on, and you could get 8 hours over that. And you could get through an overnight, what would be a crisis situation, typically, certainly a crisis situation when I was growing up. We'd have the candles out, and we'd be doing all kinds of things that we're lucky we didn't burn down the house with. But now you got one of these, and it can get you through a night. But what it's not going to get you through is the 2 weeks, that they put in this title, where he says, this portable battery station can power your home for 2 weeks. But here's the real best feature. And what's crazy is, he said the real best feature is the wheels. And the wheels. And then, so if you're powering your house for 2 weeks, which you can't do off of this thing, it means you've got 5 of those stacked together. It's 500 pounds worth of batteries. I'm not wheeling that around. I mean, I'd prefer not to wheel that around. One of those would be enough. So that was it. That was my, I had a little banner for it. That was my food for thought. So just know, if you're buying portable power, there's really good spreadsheets out there that'll kind of help you determine what kind of power you use. General rule of thumb, unless you're using, a really high intensity HVAC unit. We have a heat pump, but we're not using our HVAC much right now, just because the fireplace does keep our house at a cozy 68 to 72. So we rely on that. That uses just a significantly less amount of power. We use the HVAC mini split heat pump system when we need to supplement our power, but we don't rely on it, because that would drive our power way up. So that would push us into the 30 or 40 kilowatts a day. And we like to be around 20. But as a rule of thumb, a kilowatt an hour, how many hours you got to get by? So if you got to get by if you want to plan to get by for 2 hours, then you could get a more simplistic kind of a Jackery system or an EcoFlow system. And the same, it's at 4 or 8 or 12, you're able to scale that system up. But if you want to get to 2 weeks, you have to talk about a more static system, a more home-based system, a Powerwall system, or there's so many more options out on the market today. Generac has some systems and things like that. And it's worth exploring. When I built this house, it was 5 years ago, and it was really only the Powerwall was the option for our lithium-ion storage. And so we went with it, and it's worked out, great. Knock on wood. We had some initial hiccups in the install, but it's gone over the 5 years, the course of 5 years, it's gone really, really, really well. And so the only thing is, in the wintertime, right about now, we just dip low on power. And that first year, we didn't know that. And so if you're thinking about going off grid, if you're thinking about buying some kind of backup power to manage yourself through a storm or to go camping, just understand what kind of power you're going to use. And it might be 0.2, 0.3, or 0.5 kilowatts an hour. But like us, with a modern contemporary house where we have all of the accoutrements that we need, and 3 kids, 3 teenagers, a kilowatt an hour, I think, is what you can rely on. So that was my food for thought. And then my made me look was this. I thought this was pretty nifty. So he sets up, I got to unmute it too. He sets up, this was Fulton Lee Music, I think, at Fulton Lee Music. Play the Blue Keys. I'm like, I got to click on this. I would definitely play the Blue Keys if I want that.
What are you doing? What's this?
Just waiting for somebody to play the Blue Keys.
Can I play?
You can. Yeah.
This isn't a trap. You're not gonna give me into a payday loan after I do this, right?
Yeah. No, man. No. No strings attached, dude. It's just music. Let's go.
Just the blue.
Yep. Try the red keys.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's it. All right, so it goes like this. It goes like blue keys, red keys, blue keys, red keys. Yes.
All right. Okay.
I can play red key. Blue key, red key.
Blue keys.
We're funking it up.
Oh yeah. And keep it going. Keep it going.
Oh, I feel it. Okay.
Blue keys. Yeah. Can you keep it going?
Yes.
All right, we're about to lock in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Baby, don't call me. I'd rather be on your mind again.
Oh my God.
Baby, don't.
I wasn't expecting that voice either.
Again. I'd rather be in your head than in your bed. And if you're gonna leave, stay. I don't wanna know.
You're like an angel with sunglasses.
If you're gonna leave. Maybe we could keep the faith for a little longer.
You're like an angel with sunglasses.
'Cause I don't know many
That's
things,
all right.
but baby, I know that it ain't
I
over.
wonder where they
It's
are.
over. Baby, it ain't over.
No, we'll have to look it up. Till it's over. It's a good song. That's got a great groove to it, right? So I thought that was pretty nifty. That made me look for sure. Well, anyway, that's it. I think that's about it for my rant on portable batteries for right now, and just knowing what kind of power you're going to need, what kind of power you're going to use. Just have a good understanding going into it. But there's a ton of good options out there. And so from me, from Huckleberry, from Posey, from our fireplace, hope you guys are warm and cozy out there. If it's cold, I learned that it's cold down in Texas. You too, BJ. Have a good night. I hope it's not as cold down there as it is here. And that's about it. We're trying to keep it light here because we need light to make power. And so if I can make it a little bit lighter at night, then I'm going to try to do that. So hope you guys all have enough power for your day inside and out. We're at 50%. We're in good shape, but we got like 4 gray days ahead of us. So ... question mark. We'll make it through. But I'll catch up with you in the next day or so, and we'll see how we do it. So take it easy, everybody.